The 15 sexiest male hobbies that make men irresistible to women. Old Stoic wisdom. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it, Epictetus. Gentlemen, quick gut check. Ever notice how your buddy, the guy who spends Saturdays restoring old radios, seems to attract more dates than you, even though you've got plenty going for you? It isn't luck. It's a signal. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly which hobbies make women lean in before you've said a word and why. If you've tried having hobbies and still feel stuck, I'll also point you to one-on-one coaching so you can stop guessing and start moving. First, a myth to retire. The six-pack/six-figure combo isn't the master key. Women who only shop for that aren't the women you want building a life with anyway. What genuinely draws emotionally healthy women is a man whose pursuits reflect confidence, creativity, skill, and depth. A man who uses both his hands and his mind. That's philosophy in motion. This list isn't random. It's grounded in a 2024 date psychology survey of over 800 women, along with countless conversations I've had with women about what quietly flips the attraction switch. One more principle, Marcus would approve: you have to live with yourself. Don't chase hobbies just to impress. Choose the ones that light you up, because authenticity is the magnet and the filter. Not every woman loves every hobby. The right woman will be drawn to the right signals. All right, let's get practical. Here are the 15 sexiest hobbies women consistently find irresistible in men. And I won't just name them. I'll break down the psychology behind each one and how to showcase it naturally so it sparks instant intrigue. Hobby number 1. Reading. Don't roll your eyes and think it's too ordinary. Be sharp enough to recognize that the simplest habits often carry the deepest weight. Women don't just see a guy with a book in his hand, they see intelligence, imagination, and yes, that delicious hint of mystery that keeps them guessing. And mystery, gentlemen, is not some cheap parlor trick. It's one of the oldest and strongest attraction triggers. Picture this. You're sitting there, lost in the pages of a novel, absorbed by words instead of screens. She notices, and instantly her mind starts wandering. What's spinning inside his head? What worlds is he exploring? What truths does he hold that I don't? That curiosity is a spark, and sparks, when fed, become fire. Reading makes her want to decode you, to peel back the layers, to see if your iron mind is as fascinating as your silence suggests. And let's not pretend it's just about looking smart, it's about embodying old Stoic wisdom, the kind that says knowledge is armor, curiosity is strength, and stillness is power. A man with a book isn't shallow, he's layered, thoughtful, maybe even a little dangerous in the best possible way. That is exactly what pulls her closer. So don't waste time with mindless fluff. You must pick up works that stretch you: philosophy, psychology, history, gripping novels that reveal truths about the human condition. Share a single insight, not as a show-off, but as a breadcrumb of your inner world. Casually drop a line about how Marcus Aurelius used Stoic principles to govern his emotions, or how a character's struggle mirrors real life. Don't brag, don't lecture, just let it slip like it's no big deal. That's the secret. Women lean in. They want more. They want access to that hidden library inside you. Reading is not passive, it's training. It sharpens your perception, it teaches you to listen, it cultivates patience. And patience, combined with depth, is magnetic. Be the man who reads not for display, but for growth. Not to impress, but to evolve. Remember, books build an iron mind, conversations reveal it, and Stoic principles refine it. So, don't dismiss reading as just a hobby. Treat it like a discipline, a quiet weapon. That is what makes you irresistible. Because in a world full of noise, the man who reads radiates silence, strength, and a wisdom that can't be faked. Hobby number 2, learning a foreign language. This one isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. Why? Because a man who studies another language instantly signals drive, ambition, and adventure. That is the kind of man women notice. Think about it. A guy who sticks to the same safe path may be dependable, but he's predictable. You're different. You're stepping into new territory, opening your mind to new sounds, cultures, and ideas. You're not stuck in one place, you're expanding your horizons. That's not just sexy, that's irresistible. Picture this. You're the man who could land in Paris, Tokyo, or Mexico City and thrive. You wouldn't panic. You wouldn't freeze. You'd adapt, navigate, and enjoy yourself. That sends a powerful signal: excitement, possibility, survival value. And let's be honest, whispering something smooth in French or Spanish, that's not just a bonus point, it's a whole scoreboard. Even if all you can do is order tacos in Spanish with a grin, you're showing effort. And effort is sexy, always. Here's the kicker. Psychology tells us women subconsciously connect language learning to intelligence and adaptability. And adaptability, gentlemen, equals survival value. Her instincts read it like this: if he can adapt to a new language and culture, he can adapt to challenges in life. That means you're reliable. That means you're solid. Don't dismiss this as just some party trick. This is deeper. Learning a new tongue is training your mind to stretch. It's proof you're willing to work for growth. That echoes the old Stoic rules: discipline, perseverance, resilience. Practical Stoicism teaches us that strength isn't loud, it's consistent. And the man who masters even a few foreign words shows that quiet strength. Remember, adaptability is the secret weapon. Languages force you to fumble, fail, and try again. That humility, that persistence, those are paths of wisdom. They make you not only more attractive, but also more capable. Women feel it even if they can't explain why. So don't settle for small talk in your own language forever. Be the man who can switch gears, who can charm with words across borders. That is irresistible. That is timeless. And that, my friend, is what separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. Hobby number 3, playing a musical instrument. Is not just playing a musical instrument, it is mastering a discipline that makes a man magnetic, powerful, and irresistible. Whether it's the guitar, the piano, or the violin, these instruments carry a soulful energy that speaks louder than words. When you sit down and play, you're not just producing sound, you're projecting discipline, patience, and passion, the very virtues that define strong men and enduring relationships. Women see beyond the notes. They see your ability to focus, to commit, and to channel energy into something meaningful. That is what wins respect, desire, and admiration. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That is Stoicism in action. To learn an instrument, you must endure frustration, embrace repetition, and conquer setbacks. And that same resilience is what makes you win in life, in love, and in every arena that matters. Don't waste time on shallow pursuits. Don't let yourself be a man who drifts. Instead, let the music you create be proof of your willpower. Let every chord you strike remind you that mastery is earned, never given. Marcus Aurelius declared, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you play, you embody that truth. In modern life, where distractions pull men in 1,000 directions, mastering an instrument is a rebellion, a declaration that you refuse to scatter your focus. Let's be clear, women are not attracted to noise, they are attracted to depth. They are not impressed by empty showmanship, they are moved by devotion. That is why when you play, you stand apart. You demonstrate what Stoicism teaches: that strength is calm, that passion is steady, that true victory is control. You must win over chaos, win over laziness, win over mediocrity. And every time your fingers move across the strings or keys, you're proving that you can. Don't forget, Epictetus taught that happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle: Some things are within your control and some are not. The ability to take an instrument, shape its sound, and bend it to your will is a living metaphor for mastering your own mind and mastering your own life. Play not just to entertain, play to embody mastery. Play to show the world that you are a man of stoicism, a man of depth, a man who knows how to win. If you found this valuable, give it a like, share it with someone who needs this wisdom, and hit subscribe for more timeless insights. Comment to remember, I am disciplined, patient, and passionate. Hobby number 4, cooking. Don't underestimate this one because sautéing garlic in a hot pan isn't just dinner, it's practically foreplay. The aroma hits first, the sizzle follows, and suddenly you're not just a man making food, you're a man commanding the room with quiet power. That is what makes it irresistible. She steps inside expecting takeout or some sad frozen pizza, and instead she sees you chopping, seasoning, plating like you own the place. You hand her a glass of wine while the fragrance of roasted herbs and garlic dances in the air. Don't tell me that isn't seduction. It's theater. It's art. It's proof of an iron mind shaped by old Stoic wisdom. Why? Because cooking shows mastery. It shows independence, creativity, and the courage to nurture instead of just consume. A man who can cook is a man who can lead, but also one who can soften. That contrast, strength with gentleness, is exactly what Stoic principles teach. Power under control, fire in balance with calm. Women don't just see a meal, they see a man who invests effort, who provides an experience, not just calories. You must understand, when you know how to cook, you're not just feeding her, you're feeding her curiosity, her senses, her trust. Be smart, don't overwhelm yourself with 10 fancy recipes. Get really good at 3 signature dishes, your own personal weapons of mass seduction. Rotate them like a general rotates his best soldiers. She'll never notice the repetition because she'll be too busy being impressed by your precision. And here's the kicker: adapt. If she's vegan, if she's gluten-free, if she's allergic to nuts, adjust your masterpiece. That screams thoughtfulness, flexibility, iron discipline disguised as kindness. Don't miss this. The man who can cook well becomes unforgettable because the memory of taste, smell, and atmosphere lingers long after the plates are clean. That is the secret sauce of attractiveness. Cooking, when done with confidence, is living proof of old Stoic wisdom. Focus on what you can control, elevate the simple into the profound, turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. If you want to be irresistible, don't just lift weights, don't just drive nice cars, don't just quote philosophy. Be the man who stirs a pot with the same seriousness he would swing a sword. That is sexy, that is powerful, and that, gentlemen, is why cooking earns its place as one of the sexiest hobbies a man can master. Hobby number 5, woodworking. This one isn't a hobby. It's an instinct. It's primal, raw, manly. When you pick up a piece of wood and begin to shape it, you're not just making furniture. You're connecting to something ancient. Men have been carving, hammering, and building since the dawn of civilization. You stand in that same tradition. That is powerful. That is attractive. Picture this. You run your hand across a freshly sanded oak table, the scent of cedar hanging in the air like a promise. She notices. She doesn't just see a man with tools. She sees strength, steadiness, and skill. She sees capability. And let me tell you, capability is sexy. Why? Because at a deep psychological level, woodworking screams provider energy. It whispers survival, security, and stability. It's not just about shaping wood, it's about shaping life itself. Women don't have to consciously think about it, the message lands anyway. A man who can build something from nothing is a man who can build a future. And here's where the Stoic rules slide in. Woodworking teaches patience. You don't rush a carving, you don't force the grain, you work with it. Practical Stoicism says, don't fight reality, adapt to it. The same applies to the wood in your hands and the life you're building. Now, don't underestimate this. When she sees you guiding the chisel with deliberate focus, she's not just admiring your craftsmanship. She's imagining what else those strong, steady hands could do. Trust me, her mind is already wandering. Woodworking is also a metaphor. Every board has knots, cracks, imperfections. Do you throw it away? Number. You work around them. You make the flaws part of the beauty. That's exactly how paths of wisdom in life work. Don't curse the flaws, integrate them. That's what makes the final product unique, just like you. So here's the truth. Woodworking isn't just about lumber and nails. It's about embodying patience, discipline, and creativity. It's about sending a message that says, I can shape the raw into the refined. I can take chaos and carve order, be the man who builds. Don't just consume, create. Don't just fix, transform. Woodworking is more than sexy. It's symbolic. It's your silent declaration that you have both the strength to protect and the wisdom to endure. That is irresistible. Hobby number 6. Pointing. Don't underestimate it. A man with a brush in his hand is not just making colors dance. He is showing the world he can turn emotion into form, silence into story, and chaos into beauty. Women see a man painting and instantly sense depth, intelligence, and mystery. They see a man who dares to feel and still dares to stand strong. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when you paint, you show that your soul is alive, vivid, unafraid. Even if your strokes are imperfect, even if the canvas is messy, it is the act of expression that is magnetic. Don't hide behind excuses. Don't say you're not an artist. Pick up the brush. Pour your strength into vulnerability. That is the paradox women can't resist. Epictetus taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. And painting is freedom, the freedom to feel, to reveal, to risk. In modern life, where men numb themselves with distractions and endless screens, painting is rebellion. It shows that you're not numb, you're awake. You must understand, creativity is power. It is intelligence on fire. It is stoicism in motion, because real stoicism isn't cold detachment. It is mastery of the self, mastery of emotion, mastery of expression. When you paint, you win twice. You win against your own fears, and you win her attention. Let her see that your soul isn't locked away, but disciplined, alive, and ready. That is how you embody strength and sensitivity at the same time. That is how you win. So stop doubting, start creating, and let the canvas reveal the man you truly are. The man of depth, of fire, of stoic resolve. The man who knows that life is art and art is victory. If this insight hits you, like, share, and subscribe for more timeless wisdom that makes you irresistible. Now let's make it interactive. Drop this in the comments to remember, creativity and vulnerability are magnetic. Hobby number 7, writing, especially poetry. Don't scoff, don't shrug, and definitely don't roll your eyes, gentlemen, because this is not about being a fragile artist scribbling heartbreak on napkins. Writing is for men who dare to wrestle with their own thoughts, men who take their chaos and hammer it into rhythm, clarity, and fire. That is what makes it irresistible. It screams introspection, intellect, and emotional maturity, a rare and magnetic triple threat. A man who writes proves he has an iron mind, one forged by Stoic principles, one guided by Old Stoic wisdom that teaches him to master his emotions rather than be mastered by them. Don't think it's just ink on paper. It's electricity flowing from the depths of your soul into words that can strike like lightning. When you recite a verse that lands just right, you're not only revealing that you think deeply, you're showing that you feel deeply, and that combination is dynamite. You must understand this. Women don't just listen to your words, they measure the courage it takes to put them out there. Be the man who doesn't hide behind silence, but commands it to speak for him. Be bold enough to take your words beyond the page, step into an open mic night, read that poem or story, and let the room feel your presence. That moment is not about rhymes, it's about confidence, charisma, and fearless vulnerability. And trust me, That cocktail is intoxicating. Don't underestimate the ancient power here. Marcus Aurelius himself might have been proud of a man who could channel his mind into words that move others. So stop dismissing writing as soft. Own it, shape it, perform it. That is how you turn thought into flame, stoic wisdom into seduction, and words into something that lingers long after the lights go out. Hobby number 8, gardening. Big surprise, right? You probably expected motorcycles, guitars, or maybe boxing gloves. But here it is, gardening. And believe me, it's sexier than it sounds, especially to women over 30 or 35 who are no longer impressed by boys showing off toys. They're looking for men who can show depth, stability, and a little wisdom. Why does gardening hit so deep? Because it's not just about flowers or tomatoes. It's about patience, care, the ability to cultivate life with your own two hands. And let's be honest, if you can nurture something green and alive, a woman can't help but think, if this man can grow roots, maybe he can grow a relationship too. Don't dismiss this as soft. Be clear. In a world where lettuce costs as much as rent, the man who can pull food out of the earth screams strength, safety, survival. That's primal. That's irresistible. Every seed you plant whispers a message louder than any gym flex. I can take care of us. Women hear it, even if they don't say it out loud. They feel it in their bones. That is why the hobby makes you magnetic. And here's where the old Stoic wisdom slides in. Gardening is the perfect classroom for practical Stoicism. You can't rush a seed. You can't bully it into sprouting faster. You wait, you water, you trust the process. That's a direct reflection of Stoic rules. Control what you can, accept what you can't, and stay steady in between. Be warned, don't expect instant results. That tomato plant isn't going to bend to your impatience, and neither will life, or women for that matter. Gardening forces you onto the paths of wisdom, where every mistake becomes compost and every season teaches you to start again. Picture this, a man leaning down, dirt on his hands, pulling fresh carrots out of the earth. Not glamorous? Wrong. That's competence. That's quiet power. That's the kind of scene that makes a woman think, this guy won't just abandon ship when things get tough. So don't laugh off gardening as grandpa's hobby. Be the man who plants, who nurtures, who harvests. That is sexy. That is rare. And that is the kind of energy that makes women lean in closer, not step back. Hobby number 9, swimming. If you think it's just about showing off a fit, strong, shirtless body, you're missing the deeper truth. It's about embodying power, control, and grace in one seamless movement. Swimming is not only physical, it is psychological, spiritual, and even philosophical. Epictetus, the great teacher of Stoicism, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself, and the water is the perfect battleground for mastering yourself." When you dive into the pool, you're not just swimming, you're learning to win over chaos, to move with confidence through resistance, to face the current and own your place in it. Don't think of swimming as a casual hobby. Think of it as training for life itself. The water demands discipline. The water demands control. The water demands that you adapt, that you stay calm when the world feels like it's drowning you. That is Stoicism in action. That is resilience tested. That is how you win. Women see a man who swims with strength and fluidity and immediately recognize adaptability, resilience, and freedom, traits that speak louder than any words. It's not about the perfect stroke, it's about owning your space. Swagger is sexier than perfection. Don't hide behind hesitation. Don't fear the splash. Jump in with conviction, because in swimming, as in life, hesitation is death. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic master, declared, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you swim, you practice this very truth. You decide whether you glide like Bond or belly flop like a madman. The victory is in the ownership, the refusal to shrink back. Let's be clear. Water symbolizes freedom, flow, and adaptability. And when you swim with confidence, you broadcast that you are a man who can bend but never break. So, gentlemen, embrace swimming not only as a hobby, but as a living metaphor of Stoicism. Use it to train your body, sharpen your mind, and fortify your soul. Swim with purpose. Swim with conviction. Swim to win. Because in the water, as in life, only the man who dares to move boldly, who embodies Epictetus, Stoicism, win, becomes truly irresistible. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. Hobby number 10, photography. Don't be fooled. It isn't just clicking a button and hoarding snapshots like some tourist on autopilot. Photography is about perspective, discipline, and the art of truly seeing. That is the sexy part. Women don't just want to be looked at, they want to be seen. And when you're the man who notices the golden hue of sunlight cutting across a street corner, or the way laughter wrinkles someone's eyes, you signal that you operate on a higher frequency. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that life is fleeting, moments vanish, and the iron mind learns to capture what is precious before it slips away. Photography is your proof that you're not just passing through life half asleep, you're awake, intentional, alive. Don't think you need a $3,000 camera or a studio setup. Be resourceful. Use your phone, frame with precision, chase meaning instead of megapixels. A single picture that carries weight says more about you than an entire gallery of random shots. And in a world where everyone scrolls fast and forgets even faster, that quality is irresistible. And here's the kicker. When you take a picture of her and she sees herself through your eyes, not the world's, suddenly she feels desired, understood, radiant. That is why the lens is powerful. Words can flatter, but a picture that makes her feel both real and beautiful, that sears into memory. Pickup artists try to fake this skill, but they always miss the essence. It's not the gear, it's not the act, it's the Stoic principles of intention, awareness, and mastery of perception. You must practice looking beyond the obvious, because that discipline shapes character as much as it shapes art. Don't waste shots on empty vanity. Train your eye, refine your patience, learn the silence between moments. Women sense this quiet confidence. They know the man behind the camera has an iron mind, steady and unshaken, but soft enough to reveal tenderness in an image. Photography done right whispers, "Here is a man who notices, who values, who cares." Hobby number 11, astronomy. His one has that subtle, nerdy hot appeal. And let's be honest, what's sexier than a man who looks up at the night sky and sees more than just twinkling dots? Think about it. A man who spends his nights gazing at the stars isn't just a dreamer, he's a thinker. He contemplates the vastness of the universe. He's grounded yet unafraid to reach beyond himself. That's poetic, that's romantic, and yes, that's deeply masculine. Why is it irresistible? Women don't swoon over the guy who knows the price of every new gadget. They swoon over the man who knows how small we are compared to Saturn's rings. Why? Because astronomy signals awe, curiosity, and philosophical depth. It whispers, this man isn't trapped in the shallow end of life. He's swimming in the deep waters of wonder. She imagines you on a blanket under the stars, not talking about office politics or grocery lists, but about meaning, purpose, and mystery. That's a different league of conversation. That's where connection becomes unforgettable. The Stoic connection. Astronomy has always fascinated the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote about looking up at the stars to remind himself of life's brevity. That is one of the core Stoic rules. Don't waste your days on trivialities. Look higher, think deeper, live wiser. Astronomy naturally aligns with practical Stoicism. It's not about escaping reality, but putting reality in perspective. You learn humility, patience, and the calm acceptance that comes with realizing You're part of something vast. Follow those paths of wisdom, and suddenly, your appeal is not just physical, it's eternal. The psychology bonus. Here's the secret sauce. When you talk about galaxies, black holes, and infinity, you make her feel like she's part of something bigger. You're not just a guy. You're her ticket into the mystery of the cosmos. That's intoxicating. It creates intimacy without forcing it, and it signals that you're more than a paycheck, a car, or a set of biceps. You're a man with soul. A word of caution. Don't mess this up. Astronomy and astrology are not the same thing. If she's expecting you to point out the Orion Nebula and you start mumbling about her Mercury retrograde, congratulations. You've just booked yourself a one-way ticket to the friend zone galaxy. Be the man who studies the stars, not the one who blames them for his bad haircut. Final word. Astronomy isn't just sexy, it's timeless. It connects you to the ancient philosophers, the dreamers, and the Stoics who once looked up at the same sky. Be that man. Embrace the stars, walk the paths of wisdom, and let your curiosity make you irresistible. Hobby number 12, hiking. This is not just about walking through the woods, it is about embodying strength, adventure, and stoic resolve. Hiking is primal. Nature plus movement equals power. When a man hikes, he is not merely moving forward on a trail, he is proving that he can endure, that he can navigate, that he can lead. Women see this and instinctively recognize groundedness, decisiveness, and courage. Epictetus taught, difficulties show what men are. The trail is a mirror of life. Rocks, roots, and steep climbs are obstacles, and conquering them shows that you do not shrink from challenges, you crush them. This is Stoicism in motion, a living example of self-mastery. Don't underestimate what this hobby communicates. Hiking says, I lead the way, I keep the pace, I overcome. That is the language of attraction, and yes, the great calves are a victory bonus. But the real magnet is how hiking signals you can carry weight, endure pain, and still win. Don't turn it into a dangerous first date. Safety is her greatest need, not a plot for a true crime show. But once trust is earned, inviting her to hike is inviting her into your grounded, adventurous energy. It says you want to share not just a walk, but a journey. Modern life tries to soften men, drown them in comfort, and steal their grit. Don't let it. Hiking is the antidote. It trains your lungs, your legs, and your mind. It demands presence, resilience, and calm under pressure, the very traits women crave. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Hiking proves you live by that law, so stop making excuses. Lace up, step forward, embrace the mountain, master the trail, win the day. This is Stoicism applied, Epictetus approved, and guaranteed to make you irresistible. If you've made it this far, you understand. Hiking isn't just walking in nature, it's proof you can lead, overcome, and keep moving forward no matter the terrain. Comment this to lock it in. I lead with strength and adventure. Hobby number 13, archery. Precision, focus, discipline. Don't underestimate how powerful those three words sound when a man steps onto the range, bow in hand, iron mind steady, stoic principles guiding every movement. There is no noise here, no panic, no rush, just stillness, a deep inhale, and the bowstring pulled back with deliberate strength. That tension is not weakness, it's mastery. Then comes the release, sharp and silent, the arrow cutting through the air like fate itself. Why is this irresistible? Because it radiates control. It screams confidence without saying a word. And it proves that this man does not crumble under pressure. In a chaotic world where most stumble and break, the one who can aim straight, both literally and metaphorically, becomes the anchor, the safe harbor. The man she knows can stand firm when storms rage. Be the one who embodies Old Stoic wisdom, Because nothing attracts more than a man who doesn't just chase targets but hits them with calm certainty. Psychology doesn't lie. Archery taps into something primal, something ancient, the survival instinct that whispers to her that you're not just a hobbyist, you're a provider, a protector, a man who could thrive if the world demanded it. She sees the bow, the arrow, the focus, and she sees you, the disciplined warrior wrapped in quiet power. Don't think archery is just about sport, it's a symbol. It's the art of patience, the proof of discipline, the reflection of an iron mind that refuses to waver. You must understand that when you draw that bow, you're not just aiming at a target. You're showing the world who you are, a man shaped by restraint, guided by ancient strength, and alive with timeless allure. That is what makes it sexy. That is what makes it unforgettable. And that is what transforms archery into not just a hobby, but a magnetic force of attraction rooted in Stoic principles that never go out of style. Hobby number 14, blacksmithing. Sparks flying, fire blazing, metal bending. You don't just do blacksmithing, you become the storm inside the forge. It's a dance of fire and steel, one of those rare hobbies that screams ancient power and modern artistry at the same time. Think about it. You're wielding fire like a Viking, hammering hot steel into submission. That's not just a pastime, it's a primal performance. Every strike of the hammer echoes back to the days when men forged swords, shields, and destiny itself. That is not small. That is not forgettable. That is raw strength turned into beauty. Why it's irresistible. Blacksmithing is sexy because it's real. No pretense, no polish, just sweat, sparks, and skill. Women don't fall for men who play safe all the time. They fall for men who can shape chaos into order. And what's more chaotic than fire and molten steel? When she sees you with grit under your nails and sweat running down your back, she knows you're not afraid of hard work. When she sees your dirty hands transform raw iron into something useful or even beautiful, she sees a man who builds, not just consumes. That's powerful. That's magnetic. The Stoic connection. Here's where Stoic rules come in. Blacksmithing isn't just hammer and fire, it's patience, it's discipline. It's the very essence of practical Stoicism. You wait until the steel is at the right heat. You strike with measured force, not wild frenzy. You understand timing. You know that true strength is calm, not reckless. In the paths of wisdom, blacksmithing becomes more than craft. It becomes metaphor. Every man must forge himself in the fires of hardship. Every man must bend, but not break. You're not just making tools, you're reminding yourself that you are the tool sharpened by life, the sexy balance. But don't forget this, grit is hot, grime is not. The forge belongs in the workshop, not in her living room. Wash up before you touch her silk blouse. Transition from raw to refined. That balance, power, and polish is what makes her melt. And when she watches sparks fly from your hammer, her imagination doesn't just stop at the forge. She wonders what other sparks you might ignite, ones that don't require gloves or safety goggles. Blacksmithing is niche, yes, but that's what makes it unforgettable. You're not following the crowd, you're mastering fire. You're not just a man with a hobby, you're a man who turns chaos into creation. Don't forget, be patient like the steel, be fierce like the fire, be balanced like the blade. That is the path of the Stoic craftsman. And that path, sweaty, smoky, and utterly magnetic, makes you irresistible. Hobby number 15, traveling. Don't underestimate it because travel is more than moving from one place to another. It is a declaration of power, curiosity, and freedom. Epictetus once said, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page." And he was right. Travel is Stoicism in motion. It proves you can adapt, endure, and thrive in new environments. A man who travels shows that he refuses to stay stagnant. He refuses to be chained by routine. He refuses to live small. That is why it's sexy. It radiates courage. It screams curiosity. It whispers strength. A passport full of stamps is not decoration. It's a scoreboard of victories, proof that you faced the unknown and won. When you walk into a room with stories of foreign streets, midnight train rides, and strange but unforgettable meals, you instantly project a life that is bigger, bolder, more alive. Women don't just hear the story, they imagine living inside it with you. That is irresistible. Don't lock yourself in your neighborhood. Don't let your life shrink to the size of your comfort zone. Let's be clear, traveling is not luxury. It is discipline, training, and proof of growth. It is how you practice Stoicism in the modern world, by learning that no matter where you are, you adapt, you observe, you grow. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, Nietzsche said, and travel gives you both the why and the how. You must choose movement over stagnation, action over hesitation, victory over fear. Epictetus taught that freedom is the power to live as you will, and traveling is the practice of that freedom. So, in this modern age where men can waste decades scrolling, stuck, waiting, you must not wait. Get up, go, see. Win, expand your horizons, expand your spirit, expand your strength. Traveling is not escape, it is conquest. That is how you master life, that is how you show victory, and that is how you become the man who cannot be ignored. So there you have it, fellas. 15 hobbies that women find absolutely irresistible. From reading to blacksmithing, from poetry to traveling, each one sends subconscious signals that amplify your attractiveness. But here's the secret. Don't just pick a hobby to get women. Pick it because it lights you up. Because when you're living fully, passionately, and authentically, that's when attraction becomes effortless. At the end of the day, women aren't drawn to a checklist of skills. They're drawn to the energy of a man who enjoys his life. So, find what makes your heart race, dive into it, and let the rest follow naturally. Thanks for hanging out with me today, my friends. Keep growing, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep being you. That's your real superpower. Until next time, stay sharp and stay true.